Hey guys, it's TechGuy276. I've got three things to talk about today. What the Moto G was, the iPhone bigger screen, iPhone 6, iPhone 6C, and Candy Crush. First of all, I'll get Candy Crush out of the way because, let's be honest, it's a bit stupid. Candy Crush, the developers of Candy Crush, have trademarked the word candy. So any company that uses the word candy in their title, so that could be sweets, that could be apps, that could be anything in America, they've trademarked the word. So apps previous to Candy Crush, they've got to now rename their apps. So it could be from candy, it could be sweets, or from candy, it could be pop or something like that, and they've got to now rename their apps. So it could be like a clone of Candy Crush Saga. It could be a clone of Pet Rescue Saga. All of these different things. They're all the same anyway. Candy Crush developers copied from Bejeweled, so PopCap, and they also copied from another company, and I can't remember the name, but I'll do it later. And they've copied from a formula that's not very new anyway, and yet all of these mums, all of these people just are playing this game religiously, and they're like, oh, I'm stuck on this level 167, and then they get their friends involved, and it's like, oh, do that, and it's like, I've not even attempted to download it. I've got a friend, German. He played Candy Crush, and then once he turned off the screen, he started seeing all the colours, and he started seeing all the shapes of the colours when the device was off, and he was like seeing it in his sleep, and he just went, whoa, I best back up here, I best delete the app before I get addicted to it. So I can respect him for that. But I've not even attempted to download it because to be honest, I went into the Angry Birds fad, but that was like you actually had to think about it. But with Candy Crush, it's just like duh, 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 and then that's it. That's about the level done. The second one is the iPhone 6 or the iPhone 6C. What we're expecting to see and what we've seen Apple patent is bigger and larger devices. Like they went from, with the iPhone 5, they went from a 3.5 inch display to the 4 inch display, and now with the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 6C, maybe we'll be seeing a 4.3 or a 4.8 display screen, because as technology gets on, the screen starts to get bigger and the bezel starts to get lower, just like the Note 2 to Note 3. It's the same size device, but the Note 3 has a 0.2 inch difference between the Note 2, and it's exactly the same device size. They've just cut down on the bezel, they've cut down on the sides. It's like the iPad Air. The iPad Air is so comfortable to use one-handed. It's just like using like that, because they've cut down about that much of the bezel off the screen. I don't know how, but that's about an inch. That's about an inch off the bezel. So there's rumours that the next iPhone will be a bigger inch display. I think, if I'm completely honest, the iPhone 6 will be the same 4-inch display that we've known and we love about the iPhone. But the iPhone 6C, or if it's called that, will be a larger display. And then the next one is Moto X. The Motorola have brought out these killer devices. The Moto G. The Moto G is possibly one of the best phones out there. It's quad core, running at 1.2 gigahertz. It's a Snapdragon 400 processor, and it's got amazing battery life. It's running the closest native Android that's got a skin on it. Yeah. And it's got a voice assist. It's got migrate, so you can easily go from an iOS device or another Android device straight to this Moto G or Moto X, and they've got all of these systems in place. And if you do that with the phone, it automatically unlocks the camera for you, and you're allowed to take pictures just by doing that. And that one of the best phones of 2013 was the Moto X, because it had that always awake microphone, so you could go, okay Google, and it would bring up the screen, and then you'd say your command. And the Moto G was originally going to be a $50 phone, obviously, because with Android 4.4 KitKat, you've got less amount of system resources that you've got to use upon. Like a Jelly Bean can run on 512 megabytes of RAM, but with the 4.4 KitKat, it only needs 256 megabytes of RAM and a little bit lower, and then it doesn't need that much. Like, CPUs are getting smaller, they're getting thinner. Like this phone that I'm using right now, the Galaxy Nexus, which is a 1.2 gigahertz dual core processor, and that does me fine. But on this supposedly cheaper Moto G, it's going to have a 1.0 quad core processor, and with a 720p display as well. So that's fantastic for $50. It might vary from $50 to $100, but Dennis Woodside, the CEO of Motorola, said when they first wanted to create a budget phone, they wanted to hit the $50 to $100 mark, but they thought, right, why waste all this technology and bring it up to $180, $200, and put all of these features in? And then now they're actually considering putting a less resolution display in, less size of the display in, less camera features. So it'll still be like a 5 megapixel camera, but it'll have less features than it did on the Moto G. And then it won't have the screw assist, it won't have the always on. So it's all budget cuts really, and that's all they're doing. So thanks for listening, guys, and I'll watch your next video. You'll see my next video.